Okay, Sage, I am looking at your report now, and I like to grade these by video just because it's easier for me to do since they're longer and more involved. And students tend to like it too. Feel free to let me know. Feel free to let me know what you think about the video evaluation. So let's get right into this. Your page numbering up here looks good. You got your heading here, which looks good, except it looks like it's got excess spacing here. Notice how much spacing this has compared to this and this. So since all of this looks like it has some excess spacing, what I'll do, what you would want to do is you would just want to simply highlight all of the excess spaced areas. So I would highlight down to here, and I would go up here to this button that shows arrows pointing up and down. Click on it and go to remove, and boom, see how that fixes that spacing? So that's all you got to do. Go up here and look and see if it says remove down here, and if it does, you click it. That fixes it. Alright, now let's see. I don't know why it does that. It does that to a lot of students, a lot of papers I get like that. And I just don't know why that does that. But anywho, let's get on to your paper itself. So your introduction is pretty short and sweet. Let's see. So this is a little too far indented, so you want to make sure you only tab once. Obviously, it's a minor thing. Just like always, typically the rule of thumb is that whenever you use a word which in a situation like this, it indicates a comma needs to come before. Notice the commas, the basic rule of thumb with commas is that they indicate where there should be a slight pause in the natural reading of the sentence. So listen to how this sounds when I read it out loud. Rural economies, which traditionally rely, notice how there's this slight pause. That indicates there probably should be a comma, and that's typical with the word which. The opposite of that is the word that, T-H-A-T. It normally, in a case like this, would not need a comma. Right? So, yeah, so comma here and there, such as farming. Okay. While some may argue that automation is farming has no, this report seeks to explore the possible impacts. Okay, good. Yeah, thesis statement looks good. All right, let's see your literature review. Now, again, this looks like it might be excess spacing. So once again, we just go up here and we see if it says remove, and there it is. And that fixes it. So I'll let you do that for anything else. Well, you'll have to do it for all of them because you won't obviously you won't get this actual paper back with my fixes on it. So you'll have to fix it yourself. Sorry about that. I can't do that. All right, automation in farming can refer to many different things. Some of those things are automated picking machines. Okay, again, comma here. These forms of automation can be both helpful and hurtful, as seen in. Notice that slight pause tells you need a comma. All right, so yeah, here we go. So one of the big things I look for in the literature review is to make sure you have source material. So if any of this stuff comes from, I can't speak. If any of these things came from a source, you have to cite it. Okay, remember that. Now here you do cite it. You mention the virus, and then you say according to former Civil Eats managing. It's Civil Eats. What is that? It sounds weird. Managing an executive editor, Twilight Greenaway, comma. So that's good. You've introduced the person by their name, different as it is, their full name, and something about them to qualify them and show why they deserve to be listened to. So then you have the quote in quotation marks, and then you have your parenthetical at the end. That's great. So very nicely done there, and it looks just right. If you've done everything the way you did this one, then it's all going to be great. All right, this is one example of how automation. Okay, so yeah, I think you're doing okay here. It feels a little light in the sources, but maybe it's okay as long as you have as long as you have at least one source that's helping you to back up, each of your major points, that's what matters. So here you have John Shutsky et al. Shutsky, however it's pronounced, and then you mention who he's from, so that's what school he's from. So that's the qualifier, so very good. Then you quote, page 3, good job. All right. Highlights, this tells you there should be something fixed, and it's probably just wanting to tell you to put the S there. So look, anytime you see that double underline in blue, make sure you check to see if it needs fixed or not. There will always be a need for some human workers. Yeah, it's saying you don't need the words number of, but I'll let you decide that. That's more your decision than it is right or wrong. Manual labor. It's just telling you to delete the word the, given that even as soon as you're doing the majority of manual labor, you can probably go with it or without it. But you should always check those just to see, because sometimes they actually point out an error, like a missing comma or something like that. All right, again, make sure your excess spacing here is filled in. So there we go. All right. So this is looking good. I'm just going to go ahead and skip on to your limit. Okay, here's your limitation. That's what I was looking for, is your gap. And you've got that in there, so that's awesome. Research methods. Talk about the sources. Talk about the criterion that you use to evaluate them. And you discuss that. So this is all good. This is probably just going to say that you don't need the word of. Again, these dotted ones usually mean that you're wordy, that you've got more words than you need. And I just kind of, in some cases they might be right, but in other cases it might just be up to you. Right? So take a look at them, see what you think, and if they're right, then reduce it. If you like what you wrote and feel like it's good, keep it the way it is. Okay, you talk about the research that you did. Here's your issue, which is the weakness or whatever, so you put it in bold. Very good. Thank you for that. Very good. All right. Discussion and results, or results and discussion. Okay, provide all the statistical information that you discovered. And I appreciate the fact that you're doing a great job of keeping yourself out of it. I'm not seeing any my or me or I. So that's great. I'm also not seeing any you, which, you or your. You don't want to use second person either, so you're doing great with that. Just make sure you fix these little gaps, the excess spacing, and all the other things that I'm pointing out. And also, I'll mention right now, since I just said that, all the things that you need to fix, everything, all the way through the paper, from beginning to end, you should have highlights. For every little thing that you fix, you should highlight it. Like, let's say, for example, you decide to change this word. You would highlight it, just simply hit that highlight, and then you would also want to hit new comment. And over in the comment, you just state what you did. I changed this to the word big, or deleted a word here, or added a sentence there, or whatever it is you did. But you got to do that for every single thing you fix, so that I can easily go through and find each one of your fixes to make sure you have fixed stuff. Okay, so that's vitally important. All right. Now you should point to this graphic in the sentence, or maybe somewhere in this paragraph before. And you don't really need to have the figure number up here. The title is good enough. But underneath is where you should have the figure number and the descriptor like you have here, which is great, and the full data source. And that's awesome. You did a great job. Now, if this has a URL, you want to add that too. Remember, it's just like what you would put on a works cited page. So it should have everything, even a URL if it had one. Okay. So good job. And then you talk about what the chart shows. And then you talk about what you feel that means. Good. So your discussion is well mixed in there with your findings, your results. It could be concluded. Good. That's the way you should write it instead of saying it is proof or something like that. You're keeping it so that your audience can make up their own mind. Again, that's exactly how you want to do it. Awesome job. All right, very good job. Very good job. Limitation, you talked a little bit about the limitation. Very good. Then your conclusion, you basically wrap up the paper by telling your audience why, wrapping it, you want to start by telling your audience what it's about, like what's the topic again and why it's important, why everybody should care about it, and then leave them with an interesting final thought. Let's see what you wrote here. Training, education, and new technologies and job positions could be provided to specified words. It could help communities grow in automation instead of breaking from it. Good. Not bad. Works cited should be on a page of its own, and it is. You have that excess spacing here in places, so you want to do the same thing there. Make sure you check the spacing with this remove spacing thing for each one of them. You might be able to just highlight the whole thing and do that. See if that works. I think that might work. Let's see. That does the whole trick. Remove. See how that made all of it just the right spacing. So that's all you have to do is highlight the whole thing, hit that button, and then click on the remove, the one that says remove, and it fixes it. Everything else looks great. You've got it in the right alphabetical order. You've got the entries looking just right. Everything looks very good. Now, one thing I do want to mention is your sources. The source that you got it from, in other words, what comes right after, typically what comes right here after the title should be in italics. So you want to do that for each one. The Civil Eats here should be in italics. Now you got this one in italics, so that's already done. You got that one right. Science Direct, you got that one right. So yeah, some of them you got it, some of them you don't. So you just want to make sure you italicize those words that come right after the title, because they are usually the source, right? They're usually the title of the article or the title of the journal or whatever. Not the article, but the journal that it was found in, or website or whatever. All right, Sage, very nice job. Again, just make sure you go through and fix every little thing with a highlight and an annotation so I can spot them, and let me know if you have any questions. And also, I highly recommend that you, as I've done before with other things, I really recommend that you fix everything as I've showed you and then resubmit it to me soon so that I can give you more feedback, and that way we can get your report awesome and good to go for the final portfolio. All right, that'll do it for this video.